So today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be discussing, because I noticed that it is a cryptocurrency channel, but it's tied to my name. It's also a personal channel. So there's a couple topics that are interesting to some folks out there, and this relates to personal finance, I guess, but it could be a rant video. Health insurance. Welcome. My name is Michael, and I lived for the past 4 years. I moved back to the U.S. in June 2nd to be exact. And then I stayed in America until the last week of August. I went back to Poland for 3 weeks, and I returned last month again. So 3-4 months of being in America. Don't have health insurance at the moment, but I do qualify for health insurance at my employment, through my employer. There we go. So in car sales, a lot of dealers might provide some benefits. They don't really provide the same types of benefits that usual normal companies do. For the most part, it's just commission. Sometimes you get draw, and it is what it is, right? So my employer will offer to pay half of HMO, and I was like, what the heck is HMO, right? And then there's a silver plan, there's a gold plan, and I was told to check with my parents because I'm under 26, and if you're under 26, I'm 23. If you're under 26, it might be a little bit cheaper to go with your parents. So we're checking out health insurance plans right now, and I spent a lot of time looking through this, and I have to say, it is very confusing. It's so complex. Guys, do you agree with me that, first of all, it's very expensive? Second of all, there's so much information to sift through. So, for example, if you're going to choose a plan, which plan you're going to get, the deductibles, how much they're going to pay for copay, right? How much your prescriptions are. Is it in-network, out-of-network? It's like, whoa! So I came from Poland, where as a citizen of Poland and as a citizen of the United States, here I don't qualify for Medicaid. I make too much money because I checked, and I'm not rich or anything. I make $30,000-$40,000 a year, well, closer to 40K, I guess now. It depends. I don't know. I've been working a few months, but just doing the math with also a little bit of gig work and YouTube and outside stuff, closer to 40,000. It's not a lot of money, especially for Illinois with high taxes, and you have to pay bills and all this stuff, but it's not enough for the government to give you free health care, or it's not really free, you know what I mean. Basically, the cost of doctor visits and prescriptions, they might be near zero or they're basically for free. There's certain things you have to pay for. It's also complicated with that stuff. Anyways, I don't qualify for that. So it will help if an employer pays a portion of it. They're not going to pay for the full amount. They're going to pay for half HMO. HMO is basically the most basic plan. And a high deductible means that if anything happens, of course, insurance is for the what-if scenarios. Is there going to be a scenario where I'm going to get cancer or break my leg or get into a pretty terrible car crash, and whatever happens? I mean, over the past year, we've had this whole pandemic where, if you get sick, there was the whole debate, what happens? Who pays for that, right? And a lot of Americans have medical debt, and some go bankrupt due to this. So it's something to definitely consider because it's a very stressful topic. But to figure this stuff out, I mean, you need to at least spend a couple of hours at the very minimum. So let me tell you what I did in Poland. In Poland, as a citizen, and this is not just in Poland, but as a EU citizen, a lot of European countries have free healthcare for citizens or for students or workers. And then if you're not qualified for certain plans, you might have to pay a little bit of a premium, or there's private health insurance, where the private health insurance, the difference between private health insurance in Poland, in Europe, and in America is essentially you get free healthcare, but they don't cover certain surgeries. They don't cover everything like medical costs and dental and vision. Obviously, same thing that over here. But it's also, there's waiting lists. So if you do have cancer, if there's a surgery that needs to be undertaken, you might have to be put on a list, and it might be a few months waiting period. Well, with private insurance, you can, as long as there's free dates that you can choose, You go to whoever the private insurance is. For example, me, I chose LuxMed. There's also Medicover. There's also, there's a whole bunch of plans in Poland. And you're able to choose something over the next week. And you're able to take as many doctor visits as your plan allows. There's different premiums. And that's it. You just choose whether you have like a gold or platinum plan or silver plan, and it tells you what doctors it covers. The better plans cover more doctors. So if it's something very specialized, like I have ear problems, I've got tinnitus and hearing loss, then a higher plan works best for that, right? So at LuxMed, I chose like the VIP package where basically you have 24/7 support. You can visit as many doctors as you want. There's no limits. You get a lot of free stuff because it's included in your plan. You're obviously paying for that. And it was around 450 PLN, I think, with taxes included, all that stuff. It's also different because in Europe, you just pay what the price is. Over here in America, let's say it's $4.99 plus tax. The tax is already included. The VAT is already included over there. But anyways, it was around 450 PLN, which is just over $100-something, which is very expensive for Poland. But for an American living in Poland, it's completely different. So I'm always thinking in dollars. And I chose the more expensive plan, and I actually probably was one of the people that visited a whole bunch of doctors and made them suffer losses, because there was a point in time where I was going to a doctor every single day, different doctors, and I was taking different tests, because as soon as I got tinnitus, I wanted to double check, do I have cancer? I went through an MRI. I had various audiology tests. I had hearing aids. I had a whole bunch of psychologists and psychiatrists and neurologists and normal family doctors. And if I got sick, immediately I went to the hospital. I got prescriptions and all this stuff. And obviously that wasn't going on forever, because eventually I stopped going to the doctors because I realized, there's no cure. I can't really do too much. But if I did get sick or anything happened, if like I broke my toe, I went immediately to a hospital that was mainly for foot injuries. And I got a scan and everything was fine. Like, my plan covered everything. So it gave me such peace of mind, where even if I chose something that's a little bit less premium, eventually that one was a little too expensive for me because my financial situation got a little bit worse. So I downgraded a little bit, and it still covered so many doctors, and I was able to visit, almost every month for something, whatever happened. Obviously I'm overweight, so I've got high blood pressure. I've got a whole bunch of issues, which I'm working on. But if anything happens, I have a higher chance of that happening to me. So I just wanted to double check, and it's good. Right now, a lot of people may not care about your vision and your hearing and sinuses and whatnot. I actually had an operation, so that wasn't covered. I had to pay extra, but obviously it was cheaper in Poland. So it's good to check your vision once a year. It's good to check your hearing once a year. It's good to just go through blood tests once a year, see how everything is. Your thyroid, I had that checked. I had a lot of, when I was really anxious and I was depressed, obviously because of tinnitus and all that stuff, I just wanted to check everything. How's my vitamin levels? How's everything? In America, though, even the gold plan or whatever, obviously there's better plans. You still have high deductibles. At least that's what it seems like to me. Like, yeah, sure, you're going to save tens of thousands of dollars with the whole negotiation. Like, if you go to the hospital, it's going to be like $50,000 or $100,000. All this stuff is pretty scary to me, because a couple years ago, back when I lived in America, my parents had to pay a lot of money, and they had insurance, but insurance didn't cover everything. So there was times when I had to go to the hospital and not everything was covered, and they were left with medical debt and, tens of thousands of dollars. And some families out there are left with hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars, because what happens if you're in a pretty severe accident and you have to get, like, you're far away from hospitals and you need to get airlifted with an air ambulance, and it's like, okay, that's pretty scary stuff. You're paying hundreds of dollars per month for insurance with already, like, it doesn't cover everything. And what happens if you go to a hospital or doctor that's not in your network? It's just absolutely crazy to me. Obviously, as Americans, we know our healthcare system is pretty messed up, where you see certain prescriptions that are like a life or death situation, they end up costing $700 per pill or something like that. After I calculated everything, there was examples given, and there's so much information about certain treatments, certain pills, certain doctor visits. It's just scary to me that as a 23-year-old, I could end up paying hundreds of dollars that, anyways, it doesn't cover everything, where I go to the hospital, let's say I break my leg, and I still have to pay thousands of dollars, but, oh, they negotiated the price down from $50,000. So what I've learned is, even if you don't have all the health insurance, it's always good to negotiate with doctors or whatnot and say, hey, I don't have health insurance, so let's just discuss rates. It's crazy that you have to negotiate with doctors. You have to negotiate with a dentist. It just doesn't make sense to me. I am a firm believer that if you're making a lot of money, America's a very successful, a place where you can be very successful. There's a lot of opportunities. It is the land of opportunities, the American dream, but there's, certain things that need work. It's not a perfect dream, but nothing's perfect in this world. I'm a firm believer that if you have a good job and everything's going well, that you should save up money and also pay a little bit higher premiums for insurance. And yeah, okay, you're gonna have to pay for private insurance, but I think there should be a plan that covers everything, and you pay like what, $300 per month, and if you're making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, even more. I'm sure there's plans that do cover everything, but when I discuss with people who are age like 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 even, and they have to pay like for their family over $1,000 per month for health insurance, that even that doesn't cover everything. It's just crazy to me. And I know it's all about the risks and whatnot. I know certain private insurance, even in Poland, if you're over the, I think it was the age of 80, it's not going to cover you, but other plans will. Yeah, of course it's going to be more expensive if you're older. I'm a firm believer that if you're able to pay, you should pay. If not, there should be some free programs out there. It's not that everything should be for free. Obviously, doctors, they have an important job. They need to make their money as well. But it's not even the doctors. It's mainly the insurance companies and like the head honchos at the medical companies and the drug companies. Like, seriously, they need to fix their, whole bim, 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 bim. I know there's also politics involved and lobbying and whatnot, but there should be cheaper and easier to understand plans out there. Like, yes, I'm finding out more information about which plan's the best, and it also changes from state to state. And it's just crazy that if you're getting these HMO plans, that you have to choose a healthcare provider, and what happens if there's an emergency and you're like unconscious and an ambulance picks you up and you have no say, and you go to an out-of-network hospital and have an out-of-network surgery. It's like, oh my gosh, I understand that I'm going to have to pay regardless probably $200 to $300 per month as of, November. That's when I'm going to have most likely health insurance start. But I just hope that things get better. Like, I don't know. It's such a complex situation. I understand that there's so many variables to it. But as someone who does have health problems, even if I'm going to be super skinny, I'm always going to be stuck with hearing aids and tinnitus until there's a cure. It's scary that even if a cure does come out, I know I have to save up money for that, because I know health insurance wouldn't cover everything. I just hope that America's a beautiful place, but I really do hope that it improves. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just want to make a video about it because it's stressing me out right now. If you're stressed too, or if you have any advice to offer, write down below. And I guess that's it for today's video. I just wanted to chat about that. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.